is Sadi Yildrim, and I'm a political refugee. And today I want to share some things with you. Yeah. First of all, I couldn't really believe when I got an invitation from my friends to give a TED talk. I thought they were just joking. I thought, do I really have a story that deserves to be told? Since both of my parents are educators, I had come across with TED Talks years ago. Usually, experts in their own fields or really popular people would deliver these talks. I am a student at a university. Well, I was a student in a university. I am a refugee. I have been just working at a hotel temporarily for the last 3 months. I sweep the sidewalk in front of the hotel. I peel potatoes, and then I carry customers' luggage. Some of them even tips me, so it is particularly great source of motivation. So later on, I learned that what I do, that calls in Germany, it's Hausmeister, of course, in German. I have only 3 months of experience in this Hausmeister job. Sometimes I fix things, sometimes I broke them. So, yeah. Our chef, he tells me, Sadi, you break everything down. But it looks like you are going to learn by first breaking down. So, I want to take him from here. Yeah. And as you can see, I pretty much do everything. There is an expression in my country, I do everything, brother. It is often used by the people who has no expertise in anything. It is pretty much jack of all trades and master of none. This is pretty much how I feel in these days. Anyhow, what I might say about my work wouldn't benefit to anyone. I may even cause you to start something breaking down. Joking aside, I have had never focused this much on my story or other refugees' stories who share the same destiny with me. Last month served me as an opportunity for self-discovery and learning for me. I couldn't sleep at night. It really caused a serious deal of stress on me. I thought for weeks about what I could possibly share with these valuable people. I asked my family elders and searched information sources on this topic. I come across very interesting information and impressive stories. Starting with my own private life, I asked many questions. Why do people feel forced out of their own lands despite the grave dangers? Under what circumstance do people make these decisions? What are the common characteristics of major migrations in the past and the current ones? Who are these refugees, or who have the risk of being one? We can add more questions. We can find more answers. For humans, sense of security is the most basic need of all. Let's call this a primary need. People which don't feel safe would definitely move out of danger zone if they could, even if it means losing their own habitats. In other words, they just run away. If you don't feel safe, you can't sleep, eat, and don't enjoy anything. So basically, humans can immigrate and find themselves in a refugee situation. All of us, first and foremost, need a safety before anything else. Humans migrate both to protect themselves and their values. Because once you lose your values, you can't live as a normal human beings. Is there anyone before visited Serengeti National Park? No? Some animals in Serengeti National Park like to cross into the other countries in order to run away from pressure and tyranny. Unfortunately, they don't have transportation means such as ships and planes. I think that some countries are a lot more dangerous than Serengeti. Lack of security is the backbone of the refugee problem. We claim and proud of the fact that the world has become a global village. As long as all neighborhoods of this village is not safe, nobody is going to be safe. And the refugee problem will always be present. According to researchers, an average of 87 years of every century wasted with wars throughout 7,000 recorded era of human history. Even though our feeding habits constantly change, one thing remains the same. We can't give up eating each other. I can't think of any animal species that sustain its own life by tormenting its own species. In Anatolia, we have saying, if a bowl of soap is cooking at your home, that is enough to be happy. I came across a meaningful statement of a professor of a communication. All the wars, strifes waged in all over the world is done in order to add something more next to that soap. As you can see, yeah. And that. Again, referring back an Anatolian culture, if you are cooking soap at home, you just give a bowl to your neighbor as well. If everyone does that, table becomes enriched anyway. You become happier when you offer something to others. Everybody gets full. You empathize, you become happy by making others happy. This is civilization, sharing, producing value, and making others happy. Despite all the things we went through there are even some people of Turkish background in Germany who are clueless about what is going on in Turkey. Why are we here? There is only one reason, because we don't feel secure. We can further add some secondary reasons, because there is no rule of law, because our rights were taken from us to protect our basic human dignity, to be our true selves, to run away from the persecution of a tyrant. I would like to talk to you about my story. After graduating from high school, I went to Hungary for my university education in 2014. In 2015, my father, who at the time was working as a teacher back at the Turkey, came to visit me there in Hungary. It was a surprise visit for me. He was on an extended unpaid leave. His main reason was not necessarily visiting me. He told me that pressure in Turkey is increasing. Those who are governing the country will not even allow us to breathe if they could. As a family, we might end up in living foreign countries. He moved to Tanzania. He wanted to move rest of family to Tanzania as well. I also moved to Kenya in order to be closer to my family, and I enrolled in the same department at University of Nairobi. In June, the whole family was back again together in Tanzania. After July 15 co-attempt in Turkey, Turkey almost evolved into a traumatic life form. It was already had many problems with democracy and rule of law. And after July 15, it entirely became a lawless state. People who are not affiliated with governing party or people whose lifestyles are different have faced witch hunts and labeled as opposition. You can see the numbers that after co-attempt in Turkey. Right after July 15 co-attempt, pressure against some social groups has especially intensified. Tens of thousands of people were purged from their government jobs without any due process. They blamed innocent people who were clueless about what was going on as coup plotters. Every opposition to the government was framed as terrorism. And a state of fear was created this way. Nobody had power to challenge any of these decisions. My father had his share of labeling and witch hunt. He lost his job. They canceled all of our passports. There was no chance of going back to Turkey. Unfortunately, we had a meaningless puppet legal system, just like a dictator's legal system. Not the kind of legal system that might have its definition in the law books, but rather a legal system that shaped in somebody's head. Everyone who had an opportunity wanted to run away from Turkey. And we wanted to continue our life struggle, our desire to live in dignity, our persuasion of justice in a secure country. Due to its educational opportunities, we wanted to go to Finland first. We purchased tickets to Helsinki with a connection at Frankfurt. While we were on transit section of Frankfurt airport, we were met by the police officers. They interrogated us for hours. They said, "Forget about Finland. Germany needs you." Yeah, of course, it was a joke, yeah. And I have to tell you about how the police searched us. We were literally treated as criminals. They took me to a room at the police center. They asked me to take out everything on me, including my underwear. I was in shock. I could just say, with a disbelief, what a shame. They told me jokingly, "Don't be shy, we also have similar stuff like you." I can't tell you the rest because it was really humiliating. So, anyhow, our refugee chapter has started. Instead of Finland, we had to apply for asylum to Germany. I will continue my university education here in Germany. I will start my first year in university 3 times. I even have to wait for that as my German language skills are not at the required level yet. We are a large family here at refugee camp. We have neighbors from all over the world, from Turkey, from Iran, from Azerbaijan, from Somalia, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Eritrea. If you look at the inhabitants list of the refugee camp, you can see the list of failing countries. Unfortunately, Turkey is also being considered one of these countries. There are really disheartening stories emerging out of Turkey. I assume our story would be even sadder if we choose to stay in Turkey. To pay a respect to the memories of those who are left behind in Turkey, I like to briefly talk about what is going on in Turkey. They are torturing people in prisons. Violations of human rights became just an ordinary thing. Nobody even pays attention to violations anymore. Women are taken out of labor wards and taken straight to prison. A new mom who was taken to hospital for labor was not allowed to her family. Mothers are now staying in prisons with their newborns. Currently, there are 668 babies in Turkish prison system staying with their mothers. Yeah. Basic medical treatment is not even provided to those sick prisoners. And no media outlet talks about all these things going on. Nobody feels strongly about this because it is obvious to what happens to those who attempt. I had mentioned about dictators' justice. People in Turkey get to see what is shown to them. In all TV channels, they show a bright Turkey picture. They are trying to form an isolated Turkey. But the world needs to see all this and raise its voice louder. I would like to thank the German people and its government who welcomed poor refugees who were victims of training in their own countries with wide open arms. Decent and altruistic people, I'm glad that you exist. You make the world worth to living in. As long as we have people willing to share their bowl of soup with others, we can be hopeful for the future and we can continue on our claim of being civilized. Having modern communication tools and modern living areas is not necessarily proof of being civilized. Civilization means to produce value, to try to make others happy. When I see a German on the street, I just want to hug and thank him. Everything I am wearing right now was supplied by the taxes of the man I see in the subway. Germany shared its bowl of soup with us, while the politician in my country declared that there won't be even cup of water for you. I like to be equipped with necessary tools to produce a value for this society. This is my personal wish and my wish for all the refugees. And I am hopeful and I salute all of you with respect and love. Thank you so much.